they're doing what to Avengers Endgame? This is the last picture with Rahim Khan, and according to the horse's mouth himself, Joe Russo, of course, of the Russo Brothers, they're apparently editing the Avengers Doomsday to fit in a Doomsday tie-up. And according to him, it's a critical companion story. Fuck, man. Okay, I don't think I need to resort to curses or to expletives to demonstrate how stupid this idea is. Um, Let me just wait. Let me get into this. This was revealed apparently at where did he say this? At the Sands Film Festival. So now we all know that for Avengers Endgame, which is quite literally a Hail Mary for the studio, because considering how terrible Phase 4 or Phase 5 or whatever it is was, um, they really, really, really need this to work. So much so that they have called upon alum like Chris Evans, who's returning as Captain America, Robert Downey Jr., who was previously, of course, Iron Man / Tony Stark, now, of course, reprising the role of Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom, and bringing back Joe and Anthony Russo to direct the next installment in the Avengers franchise. Now, it kind of screamed of desperation when they said that they were doing this and they were bringing back all of these people. Because again, we all know at the end of Avengers Endgame, contracts for the big three, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and Chris Hemsworth, I think those were up. I think it was up for the first two, maybe not for Hemsworth, because he was already signed on to do another installment of Thor and appear in other stuff as well. But RDJ and Chris Evans, they were on their way out. So that means you were effectively losing your tent poles. You were losing Chris Evans, Captain America, and you were losing Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. They had perhaps hoped that all of these other characters they were introducing were somehow going to fill that void. Unfortunately, Phase 4 was such a mess that it made almost the viewing public forget that Marvel even existed. I mean, after building goodwill and success over the course of almost a decade, you lost that entirely with one bad release after another, right? So now, I remember when they announced this, I'm like, okay. My gut reaction was, it stinks of desperation because, why are you going back to essentially an X, right? DJ moved on to other projects and good for him. I mean, he did, what was it called? Dr. Doolittle, which was just so bad. But, you kind of understood that, he had a very, very good tenure at Marvel. I mean, he effectively created the studio and the franchise, and it was time for him to move on. Right decision or wrong, that happened. You also lost Chris Evans, who was as foundational as Robert Downey Jr. Chris Hemsworth's Thor, if, for example, Love and Thunder had done well, then maybe they would have been in a different position. But so stank to high heaven that I don't even want to remember it. Then, of course, you had the whole Jonathan Majors scandal. But wait, let me read this out first, and then we can pick up, from the Jonathan Majors part. So, this is Joe Russo talking. It's an opportunity to create. However, returning director Joe Russo has confirmed that the re-release will feature footage that is set in the Doomsday story that we have added to Avengers Endgame, making it a critical companion story to next Avengers movie. It's an opportunity to create a bridge from Endgame to Doomsday in a very unique way. And because the movie was so successful, we have an opportunity to re-release it. You don't always get the chance to re-release because it costs money. So the fact that we can enhance the story of Doomsday by bridging it to Endgame and these characters that we worked with for years, that we love so much, and continue their story, it's a really unique opportunity. Russo went on to explain that the new footage will be a setup for what you're going to watch in December when you see Avengers Doomsday. Does he say anything else? No, that's about it. Okay. Ah, like, why? I mean, okay, let's go back to the whole Jonathan Majors thing. Let's try and build a case for this, and then, of course, bring it all down. So, the disaster that was Phase Four was there. I mean, preying on the minds of Bob Iger and Kevin Feige and everyone at Marvel and Disney, and they were wondering, could it get any worse? And yes, it did, because they hired the very talented and seemingly troubled actor Jonathan Majors to be the new big bad. Because after, of course, Josh Brolin and Thanos were defeated, they had to have a mainstay villain. And that mainstay villain was, of course, longtime Avengers nemesis, Kang, and his many, many incarnations. He was good. I mean, Jonathan Majors, yeah, I mean, besides what he's done in real life, is a very good actor. And I think that he was very, very good as Kang. We got a first taste of him in Ant-Man 3, which was, oh my God. I mean, those, I think from Phase 4 were just so bad. What was Marvel thinking? I think I need to do an entire a new a video just on how bad Phase 4 was. But okay. Um, so everything that was released in that period, whether Ant-Man Quantumania, the first and second seasons of Loki, what else? What else was released in that time? They didn't. Eternals didn't have a mention of it. Uh, yeah, I think it was just those. Everything essentially in that period was introducing us to Kang. Okay, and when Jonathan Majors was taken to court for, at the time, alleged assault and battery, I think, or something like that, and then was proven guilty, Marvel was left in a fix not of their own creation because, again, I mean, this is a guy who was in Apollo 3. He was being praised as and touted almost as the next black talent. I mean, almost on the level of Denzel Washington. And then they were served like almost a rotten deal with this guy who, again, I mean, whatever. I mean, we're not going to touch upon that case. They had to let go of somebody. You couldn't continue with somebody like that. And so Marvel was in a bind. What were they going to do now? So again, because the thing is, you're setting up a storyline that is meant to introduce this character. You are introducing new franchises like, Fantastic Four, hinting at X-Men, and all of those, of course, are pointing at Secret Wars. Now, you know, Secret Wars is largely the purview, the doing of Doctor Doom. Um, but then what do you do with this Kang character? How do you get rid of this? Um, if you've seen that AI video that's being passed around on the net, so I mean, at the Council of Kangs, you have Doom appear and kill every single one of them, and that I think is perhaps a more effective bridge for us than anything that Marvel can put out right now in the form of this re-release that is Endgame. Because I don't need to sit through an entire movie like Endgame, even though I did when, do you guys remember when, what's it called? They did a re-release with some deleted footage that even didn't have like complete CGI. I'm forgetting when this was released. I think this was released in August of 2019. I think so. Or is it, yeah, August 2019, because I think they released Avengers Endgame in May, and then a couple of months later, they re-released this with additional footage. And it had, like a Hulk scene and something like that, and it even had incomplete CGI. Going to the cinema for that. I watched it. Am I going to go to the cinema to watch to watch an end game that honestly doesn't even need to have a doomsday story tacked onto it? We don't need a bridge. Endgame, I mean, largely dealt with Thanos and the Infinity Stones and all of that, and it concluded that story for us. So if Marvel really, really wanted to create a bridge between the last Avengers movie and, the fourth and the fifth, then why not make, like, for example, Punisher Last Kill, which is an hour-long special that they're releasing. Why not make a special out of it? Because I'm sure you guys could put together enough footage to make like a half an hour or an hour-long thing instead of making people sit through Avengers Endgame again and hoping for, like, honestly, if this turns out to be like some 2 minute end credit type bullshit scene, like the one that they had at the end of Eternals, where they're trying to introduce like even more characters, or the one where they had when what's it called in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and they introduce what's it called Charlize Theron. If it's I have to sit through 2.5 hours of Avengers Endgame, or however long the run time is, just for that, then I'm gonna cry foul. I mean, then I'm gonna be like, fuck you guys, this isn't worth my time. Honestly, it just kind of feels, it's not even a cash grab. It feels, I don't know how to describe something like this. I don't know why you would do this. Um, why not make it like the opening of Doomsday, of the actual movie? Why not add it to, well, I mean, what's it called? Spider-Man Brand New Day. Why are you taking a movie that is now, well, not 10 years old, it's 7, 8 years old now, and doing this? Nah, there's something about this that just doesn't sit well with me. um it's really, and then to proclaim that is a critical component, that it is like a must see, already alienates a lot of people that are maybe raring to watch Avengers Endgame, Avengers Doomsday, just will not be asked to, like, go and watch Avengers Endgame just to make sense of this movie that's coming out. I mean, come on, guys. You guys can do better at this. This is, I mean, this is how, I mean, we were hoping this is how Marvel gets its groove back. I don't like this decision. If you wanted to do this, by all means, put it out as a special on Disney Plus. It will reach far more people. I'm not sure what the nature of this. Um, I don't think he even hints at it. What is the, yeah, I mean, he doesn't really say what the new footage is, the length, the duration, where it's going to be in the story. Um, hmm. I can only speculate, maybe, that maybe they're adding this to Endgame because somehow or the other, Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom. Now we don't know which universe he's from. Maybe he is like a Tony Stark doppelganger. Maybe he was created from, like, I don't know, the death of Tony Stark in Earth. What is it, 616 or whatever? I'm forgetting which one this is. Maybe he is created from that, and they're trying to link that up, because the thing is that at some point or the other, uh, you know, thing is going to take his mask off. Now, I don't know to what extent they're going to show how disfigured Doctor Doom is, but I mean, if they keep it like minimal, and we still get to see RDJ's, you know, face. Um, I think they're going to have to explain that somehow, right? And maybe the explanation is going to be that he is much like, the Kangs. You had multiple versions of Kangs. Maybe this Doctor Doom is a version of Tony Stark. Remember how um, I was desperately hoping for this, how Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was going to be this crazy multiverse hopping movie where you were going to have, and we got a glimpse of that with, for example, the Illuminati, where you had Xavier, what's he called, Mr. Fantastic, Black Bolt, and a couple of others, where you had all of these, you had the Illuminati there, didn't have Namor. But we thought we were going to get sort of what was it called? Supreme Iron Man? Was that the one? And he was potentially going to be Tom Cruise. Remember that fan theory? I was like, wow, can you imagine if this happens? Marvel will just like come like sort of it will assume its ultimate form. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. We got like a really weird movie. But maybe this is, you know, that maybe this is connection there. I don't know. But hmm, you're essentially undoing everything that was Loki season one and season two. And honestly, Loki season one and season two were like, I think, the best that came out of Marvel in the past couple of years. So I don't know, man. I'm on the fence. And for a diehard Marvel fan like myself, I'm even on the fence about going to watch this in the cinema. Honestly, I don't think I should be saying this, but I think someone should just leak it and sort of spare us the trouble because I don't know, man. Yeah, yeah. I'm on the fence about this. Let's see what happens.